What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Pats Chat podcast, a proud member of the CLNS Media Network. Make sure to hit subscribe on the Patriots Press Pass, on the Pats Chat channel. Turn on notifications for when a new video drops on the channel. Today, we are going to be discussing the release of Stefon Diggs. Kind of a surprising piece of news to come out today, but not overly surprising that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's my take, I guess.
All right. Well, it was a good episode. See you next time.
No, I was coming out of the combine last week.
Wait.
I was like, I guess 50-50 about whether or not he was going to be on the team or not. And I think I've said it on this very podcast, probably multiple times now. I don't think he's going to replicate last year's numbers again. So in a vacuum, I think that means that I think they should move on from him.
Yeah. I do have to start some housekeeping, some Pats chat. I just noticed as we were about to go live. People who don't know us, Doug, are going to think we did it on purpose. We did not. We're both wearing green.
Oh, God damn it.
Is that not green?
I would call this brown.
Okay. Maybe it's just a screen thing, but I did do laundry the other night.
We do look like we're wearing around the same color.
Like we're like a double-shouldered man.
But I think that yours looks greener. To me, that looks a little brown.
It could be the lighting.
Yeah.
It's for sure hunter green. Either way, I did my laundry the other night, and today I wore that same sweatshirt, and I was like, I have to change before the podcast. Like I've never thought about my wardrobe before, but I had to on that one.
Ball is life. Please tell me what color my shirt is. Is it green or is it brown?
It looks green to me, but I don't want to see a picture from Abercrombie.
This one's from Taylor Stitch.
From Taylor Swift?
Taylor Stitch.
You know what? It's hard to tell because it's got like the cross sewing thing that makes it kind of like an optical illusion on the screen.
Yeah, it's when you look like it's brown, but it's got like tan stitching on it.
Yeah, no. I have a jacket I'm not allowed to wear at NBC because it does the like.
Oh, wow.
Right. Anyway, Stefon Diggs.
Yes.
Fashion chat comes to an end. I said after the season, and I think the my takeaway
Ball's
is
life said beige. Beige is closer to brown than green.
Yeah, that's fine. I think this is exciting for Patriots fans, not because Stefon Diggs was bad and you're happy to kick him to the curb or whatever, but because you don't do this unless you think you can do something better. It would be utterly insane to take everything you did this year, all of the growth of Drake May, where he's second in MVP voting, and then just take away his top receiver without a plan to replace him with something that you think can be as good, but likely better. So I think whether that's Alec Pierce, whether that's the AJ Brown trade that I don't think is realistic, there's something on their vision board that they believe they can accomplish, which is the important part, because you don't do this if you think, oh, I like that guy, maybe we'll get him. Okay, Stefon Diggs. Now that's giving them some credit, right? For actions which they have not yet completed. But I do think it gives people something to sort of look forward to as free agency opens.
I would agree with that. I think that this tells you the Patriots are going to do everything in their power to acquire a better receiver than Stefon Diggs. And I would also say that I would be surprised if that plan involved just being like, yeah, we'll draft one. Because
I hope that's not it.
That's not a guarantee. And I mean, Mike Vrabel did say at the combine, you don't just find a number one wide receiver, you develop them. So it's possible. Like if I were the Patriots though, if I like really want to find a number one wide receiver, I still trade for your AJ Brown or DJ Moore or sign Alec Pierce. And then I'm also down to draft a wide receiver in the first or second round. Like that's where the wide receiver core is at right now. Mm-hmm. And if you really think that the only path to a number one wide receiver is to draft and develop them, that's fine. I probably agree with that for the most part. I think that AJ Brown is still a number one wide receiver. DJ Moore used to be on the cusp, like used to be that guy. And Alec Pierce with improvement could still be that guy. But I would do both. If your plan is to draft one. If your plan is to sign or trade for one, I'm fine with that being the only move too, because I still feel like the Patriots have pretty decent depth at wide receiver. But if your plan is to draft and develop a number one wide receiver, I love that for you, but you also need to add a veteran.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think if you're going to spend big free agency trade wise on a receiver, you probably don't use that one on it. But I don't know. Late in the first, it's when you
Basically a second round pick. Yeah.
And it's when you have to start taking the best available, I think.
Right.
If you were at 11, maybe you could take the best tackle on the board if you were looking at tackle, But I think as you get later in that first round, you have to, you really want it to hit at whatever position may be. And if that happens to be receiver, I would do it. But short of that, I wouldn't say, I don't think they're going in saying we're taking a receiver there.
Maybe not. I would also say, though, that like, okay, their biggest need outside of wide receiver now. Wide receiver, we have to say, is probably that's their biggest need right now, right?
Edge.
Or is it still edge?
It's still edge because Chason is not a Patriot.
So yeah, okay. So your biggest needs are wide receiver and edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think you probably try to sign an edge in free agency too, and that lessens that need.
Yeah, and as my friend in the Boston Herald wrote, they're looking at that second tier of free agent class.
Right.
No, not going to be a $25 million player that you get who could still be a good player.
But if you sign a guy, then that's like a plug and play, and you've still got Harold Landry. You've still got Elijah Ponder. You've still got Anthony Jennings. You've still got other guys who can play there. So yeah, edge, wide, like your options there at 31. Even if you sign a wide receiver or trade for a wide receiver, would still be like wide receiver, edge, tackle. Those would be the three preferred positions, right?
Yeah, pretty much anywhere but running back would make sense.
Sure. Yeah. And there's wide receivers. So
and
looking right now at the consensus draft rankings at wide receiver, you've got Carnell Tate at 8, Mekhi Lemon at 12, Jordan Tyson at 13. Denzel Boston at 21, Kevin Concepcion at 28, Omar Cooper at 36, then Malachi Fields, Chris Bell, and Zechariah Branch, and Chris Brazell in the top 50.
It's just it's like you have to, when you look at that, and we've talked about like the 2019 draft class specifically,
right?
It seems to me there's late first, early second, there's going to be like 5 or 6 guys, and 2 end up being studs.
Right.
And it's like you want to be in that too, obviously.
Yeah. What did you see any of the interviews with Mekhi Lemon?
We talked about it briefly. He was being real weird there.
Oh yeah.
He was being a little sexy, right? Would you call that sexy?
I mean, I don't know if that's what he was going for, but then did you also see the clip where he just like wasn't listening to Todd Downing?
Yeah, I sort of did. And
I guess he could have been listening with his back turned.
Oh, that's the part, because then I watched the drill and it looked like the quarterback just massively overthrew him. So I was a little.
But Lemon also had like his back turned at the time.
All right. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, like if that causes him to fall to 31, probably kind of like, I don't know. I'd still want to do it.
The teams are just like, he was too sexy in his interview. We don't know why he was like.
But I'm still not even convinced like Denzel Boston's 100% could be the 21st overall pick, So one of those guys could be there at 31. And maybe they develop into a number 1. But how would you feel? Let's just go. I think we've talked ad nauseum. We've talked enough about AJ Brown. If you want to hear our thoughts on AJ Brown, you can listen to the last couple of podcasts. DJ Moore. How would you feel about DJ Moore?
I don't think he's quite the transformer that AJ Brown would be. I can't say AJ Brown's name. I'm saying AJ Green. I'm saying AJ Moore. I don't look at DJ Moore in the same level. And obviously, it wouldn't be as high of a cost, but he doesn't quite convince me that the offense changes that significantly with him. How about you?
I'm like okay with the idea, but I don't want to give up a whole lot for him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What's the going rate for DJ Moore right now?
I don't know, Mr. Reporter, man.
I think since their 3rd round pick is late, I'd give up a 3rd.
So he's younger than I thought.
He's 28.
He's about to turn 29. He's played for 8 years.
And he's had 1,000-yard seasons in half of those years.
Yeah. Yeah, only 682 last year.
Yeah. And like, sure.
The one before that was 966. We can call that 1,000.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, but last year, how many games did he play last year?
17. So
And Rome Odunze was hurt. He had a good quarterback in Caleb Williams. He had a good offense with Ben Johnson. Like, he should have ate last year.
yeah,
You know?
he was second on the team in receptions.
Who was number one?
Colston Loveland. So maybe the quarterback wasn't it because he was also second in receiving yards and he was tied for the team lead in touchdowns. So I don't know. Maybe the quarterback wasn't as good as his athleticism shows. I would have
I
assumed.
mean, yeah, he threw for almost 4,000 yards, though. So
dude spread it out.
He did spread it out, and Rome Odunze had a big first half of the season, but then he didn't play his last 5 games. Luther Burden, yeah, I mean, they spread the ball around, but still, you would have thought, given the circumstances last year, that Moore would have had a much bigger season. So that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And I just, I love a yard per target. 8.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? This is only me. This is probably not a you thing. So DJ Moore is 6 feet. Kyle Williams is like 5'11". Don't those guys seem drastically different sizes?
What's their bicep diameter?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're also 220 pounds or 215 pounds or whatever DJ Moore is, you look more physically imposing, but that shouldn't make you look taller.
Some
I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Sometimes 6 foot wide receivers look much taller than other 6 foot wide receivers.
People look different. There's that stuff that comes across Twitter sometimes where it's like name the quarterback and it's like all grayed out and like funky and you can kind of tell which quarterback it is just from obviously you're watching their throwing motion and stuff. But there's times where you're watching football, you're like walking through the room and you just know who has the ball because you know their body type. So he's got a bigger body type. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you remember back when the Patriots did not have numbers during OTAs?
I do, yeah.
We literally had to take attendance based off body type.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's Devin McCourty.
You can get some
Patrick
guys.
Chung.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know guys well enough that you could do it off body type.
Yeah. Well, I struggled this year. Every time there was an in cut, I didn't know if it was 3.8 or 9. I had to wait and kind of see. And they do not have similar body types. Diggs, Douglas, and Booty.
Yeah.
But there was something about that 3.8 and 9. I think my brain rejected it. So on the plus side, no more 8. So
unless DJ Moore wears number 8.
That's true. He wore 2 in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
2's available.
Who was 2?
Nobody.
No one was 2?
On the Patriots?
No, Harold Landry was 2.
Oh, terrible number for an edge rusher. Good Lord.
Not great. Yeah.
Wow. Bad job by me. Boston Harold, we call him.
So DJ Moore, I think we both agree. Not fully sold. I think it would upgrade your room, but then you sort of need to hit on that drafted wide receiver if that's your plan.
And you need Kyle Williams to take a big, but you kind of need that anyway.
Like there's a world in which you acquire DJ Moore and Kayshon Boutte is your top wide receiver next year.
Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick because I'm best case, worst case, right? You just
should we go through the third biggest option before we do that?
I guess so. I was really down the road flying, but
okay, sorry, fly.
No, I just think best case, worst case. Best case, Kayshon Boutte just had a 550-yard season, the best of his career, had downfield catches left and right, beaten top-tier cornerbacks in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. Best case is he has that 1,000-yard season. Do you think that's possible? I as good as the season was, I don't see that ceiling.
I think it's possible because he was on pace for it at times last year. Then he had the hamstring issue and he had the concussion and the season took a serious swing down. But I also will contend that the beginning of the season was largely unsustainable because Drake May was hitting every single deep ball to Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah.
So you would need to see some growth from Boutte. He's only going to be 24 next year.
Young man.
So he still has upside. He's entering year 4. You usually don't see like a crazy year 4 jump. But yeah, like I think that there's guys out there where it's like, okay, yeah, they had 1,000-yard season. I could see Kayshon Boutte doing that.
Okay, because if you look at through the first 8 games, I just brought it up, he had 23 receptions for 431 yards and 5 touchdowns. So wasn't quite on 1,000-yard pace. That'd be 862 and 16. So another 18 more. Yeah, he would have been under even with that pace.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it was a little unsustainable. So I'm just trying to envision I don't want to call it a sell job, but or sort of like the coping mechanism if they don't get any of these big names, if they don't get a big free agent or a big trade, and they're like, well, it's Booty's time. Kind of hard to sell it.
I agree. I think that if you don't do anything there, and if you just draft a guy in the second round, then you look at this and being like, well, why did you release Stefon Diggs? Because even if he does take a step back next year, he can still possibly get you 800-900 yards, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Matt Collins is going to do that. Don't think Keyshawn Moody's going to do that. It would be a major surprise if Kyle Williams did that.
Yes.
Damari Douglas is probably not going to do that. Efton Chisholm, probably not going to do that.
Probably not.
So, yeah. So then let's talk about Alec Pierce. Because,
real quick, because I know you want to get to, just to intercede, because I was going to say.
You want to talk about Jeremiah Webb and John Giles?
For sure. No, I want to let you go to that thing, but I just wanted to, this is a little Pat's chat interruption.
Sure.
Because he had 5 touchdowns in 8 games. Like, wow, a 10 touchdown pace. 10 touchdowns would be something, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, Randy Moss set the touchdown record 19 years ago. When is someone going to break it? In an era of passing. It
is an era of passing, but like I feel like passing has gone down now a little bit.
Well, now like the 2 high safeties have limited the sort of the deep balls, and
how do you not figure that out as an offense other than running the ball? You know,
I know, but like we have the to me the biggest indicator was 4 years after Randy Moss set that record. Yeah. Matthew Stafford threw for 5,000 yards, and I was like, and he was what, 3rd year, and it's like, all right, passing is so easy now.
Yeah,
and no one scored. No one went out like. A lot of great receivers. How many did Devontae Adams have this year? 17?
There are a lot of great wide receivers right now, but like there hasn't been a Jerry Rice or Randy Moss since Jerry Rice and Randy Moss, you know?
Fitzgerald wasn't quite.
No.
He was the closest thing, I think, that people assumed would be the next Moss, right?
Yeah, but he was just like very steady and lacked the same highlight ability.
Devontae Adams had 18 in 2020, which was Rodgers' MVP season. Chase had 17 2 years ago. No one has more than 18. He's a great
player, but Randy Moss is not.
I know, but you would think the level of competition, not competition, though, just the ease with it's so much easier to pass the ball in the past 19 years. That's 2 decades if you do the math.
Is Jeremiah Smith going to break the record?
He's going to be so beaten down from having to play 48 college games for he was ready as a true freshman.
I know,
let him play
brutal
in the league. Like, what is the point of it? What are we doing? What are we proving? He was a full grown man in 18. Anyways, I'm with you. It's just, you'd think someone would have scored 20.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is really crazy. And like, you make a good point about Jeremiah Smith too. Like, guys could be playing like 16 games every year. It's pretty wild. He's played 29 games already through 2 seasons.
So he's going to play 14 or 15 more next year.
In 1991, 29 games would have been 3 seasons worth of games, basically.
Yeah, he played 10 games. Stupid. Just let him play in the league. Anyways.
I agree. And certainly, like, there should be a rule where a guy is so good that you're like, no, we can break the rules for this guy.
Right. Because I can't think of another guy.
If you are a first-team All-American as a freshman,
as a true freshman, or even as a redshirt freshman, yeah,
I guess he wasn't that, so I guess that's a bad.
Oh, I thought he was a true freshman.
Well, he wasn't a first-team All-American.
Oh, he was in my book. You could not cover him. I watched.
If you exceed 1,200 yards as a true freshman, you should just be able to go pro. That's the new rule.
How old is he?
He's currently 20.
All right. Well, I mean, Randy Moss was 21 as a rookie.
Yeah. With Jeremiah Smith will also be 21 as a rookie because his birthday's in November.
Yeah. So same guy.
Not a 1986 guy, a 2005 guy.
Slightly younger.
Yeah.
Imagine like Marshall. Imagine who did Marshall play in 1997, right? They played. I'll tell you who they played. This is the end of the Pats chat interruption. West Virginia, real team. Army, Kent State, Western Illinois, Ball State, Akron, Miami of Ohio, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Bowling Green, Ohio, Toledo, Ole Miss. Imagine you're the cornerback on Bowling Green, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, we got a game this week. And then you line up and Randy Moss is there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm having trouble covering this guy because I'm the cornerback at Bowling Green.
Yeah. It would really stink. I feel bad for those guys.
My younger brother went to Bowling Green and told me, like, in the bathroom,
Really?
there was a poster or like a sign that said, like, football tryouts, come out.
How'd your brother wind up at Bowling Green?
Flying airplanes, I guess. Aviation. A lot of flat land out there.
Interesting.
True story.
He's a pilot?
Well, he was, but in aviation in some just different degrees. I'm trying to look at Randy Moss's. He went over 200 yards twice.
That Bowling Green cornerback did really well because he limited into 7 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown.
That was his least of the year.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. If the Bowling Green cornerback is listening,
my bad.
He's pissed. Yeah.
Respect. Kent State, on the other hand, Moss had 8 for 216 with 3 touchdowns. And at Ball State, they went down to Ball State, which is in what, Illinois?
No clue.
Ball State, of course. Moss had 13 for 205 and 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns
in a 42-16 win, which means someone else did score a touchdown that day. Where's Ball State?
Lord knows.
All right, then we can get back to our podcast. Where's Ball State? Muncie, Indiana.
Indiana.
Bad job by me.
Yeah.
That's like one of those teams when you're filling out a bracket, you're like, Ball State will probably lose.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to look up who the cornerback would have been. Nate Andrews, Lil Faison, Keon Laws, Troy Ramey, one of those guys.
We should do a story. You can write it in the newspaper.
I guess. If Randy Moss becomes relevant for some reason, then that would be a great idea.
He's always relevant. All right.
Well, I guess it would
Alec
be the 30-year anniversary next year of that game. So that's reason enough to do a story.
One of my favorite stories I did.
Yeah.
We've talked about how on Super Bowl media night, you have to have your plans. So you're not just like floating around like an idiot. I wanted to ask Malcolm Butler about his last college game at West Alabama. Because I think his team, they won something like 72-0.
Wow.
So I was just asking him about that game, and that was my plan. And it ended up being really good because it was like, he's like, I didn't know if that was my last game ever. And he was like, he's like, I balled out. I had a punt return for a touchdown. I had an interception for a touchdown, blah, blah. And it was like, I wrote this random story about a West Alabama game, and I liked it.
It's fun. It's great.
It was better than who would win in a fight, a turkey or 30 chickens?
I would take the 30 chickens.
Yeah. All right, Alec Pierce.
Nailed
it.
I don't know. I think it would be worth signing him for $26 million, whatever it is, you know? Like, if there's a player in this draft class who you could potentially compare the same situation to Milton Williams last year, would it not be Alec Pierce?
Mm-hmm.
He's 25 years old. Milton Williams was 25 years old last year. Relatively high pick. Alec Pierce was a 2nd-round pick. Milton Williams was a 3rd-round pick. Alec Pierce will probably be better in a better situation because he's averaged over 20 yards per catch his last 2 years. And can you name the 5 quarterbacks who have been throwing him passes?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got old Phil Rivers.
Yep.
We've got Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
We've got Daniel Jones.
Yes.
We've got Riley Leonard.
Yep.
And so there's someone from 2024.
Yep.
I'll
give you a hint.
They didn't have Daniel Jones yet, right? Because
he's another really old guy.
Another really old guy.
Year older than us. A 1985er.
And this was 2 years ago?
This is 2024.
And it's like blatantly obvious and I look stupid right now?
Yes.
He
was on 2 teams last year in the same division.
In the South?
Nope.
I thought you were saying the same division as the Colts.
No.
Okay, this. Let's see how far my little
Mike Tomlin was pissed about this trade.
Oh, Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the production with the quarterbacks is what stands out.
And then
the most.
if you upgrade to Drake May next year, who's possibly the best deep ball passer in the NFL.
Yeah, and I want to add this because he's going to make what, $25 million?
Yeah, I mean, some people think like $30 million.
So there's currently about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, call it 13 or 14 receivers making over $20 million this year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that number will look like 2 years from now?
That's the thing.
Like
Is that
30? Like
that is
30
the
guys will
thing.
make more than
Yeah.
20. So every time there's free agency,
You're getting out ahead of it.
numbers look insane. And then lo and behold, the cap goes up. And the
And
numbers.
are you overpaying him if you pay him $28 million or $30 million? Yes, right now you are.
Yeah.
But at some point you will not be. So, I mean, even look at the what's his name deal, Calvin Ridley. Like Calvin Ridley for $23 million felt crazy at the time, right?
It might be. It might still be.
I don't even know if I want to count this much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. He's the 18th highest paid wide receiver by APY. And like, obviously he's not the 18th best wide receiver in the NFL, but if he's the 18th highest paid receiver, then it's really not that big of a deal, you know?
Diggs was due more money in 2026 than Ridley.
Right.
So that's a good indicator of the elevation of these things. That was 2 years ago, right? 2 years prior to Diggs signing. So yeah, I mean, it is a risk.
I don't know if Pierce gets to 30 million.
I don't think so either. I think 25 and a half or whatever it may be.
Higgins got 28.75 last year. So maybe he gets 28 or 29. But Higgins has a better track record than Pierce.
Yes. I was thinking about something else because I was trying to piece together, like maybe we've talked about it before, or at least I have. You don't have the suck tax working against you this year, where
right.
So let's say you're at 25 and a half, and throw out your random team. Cleveland is at 27 and a half.
Yes,
and maybe like I'm just naming teams. I don't know the market, and then Buffalo's at like they can only do 20.
Right.
If you're in the middle there, given what you have at quarterback and everything that happened last year, like you have a better chance at that than you just didn't last year. You just did not, even though Mike Vrabel's reputation was good. You just do. And I'm not doing this because white guy. I'm not doing a white guy thing, which people tend to do. But I always think the funniest example of this wasn't it Adam Humphries?
Yeah.
Who chose the Titans over the Patriots in 2019 and got like good money, right?
Yeah.
And did not do anything.
Right.
And I'm not saying this because they're both white. That's just someone who I'm just thinking about the guy that hits the market,
right?
Is due to make a lot of money, gets a good contract, doesn't pan out. It does. It probably happens as much as it doesn't.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like it's risk free to hire a guy to sign a guy on upside.
No.
However,
and it is one of those tricky things where it's like, are they going to get a Milton? Like, are they going to get the same production and like, are they going to feel as good about that as they do about Milton Williams? There's no guarantee, but I mean, I don't know. Like people, I guess I'll just specifically say it. Did you see Ben Volin's tweet about Alec Pierce today?
Yeah.
So Ben is holding his production or his volume against him, which in a vacuum, being, what was it, the fourth or third highest targeted player on the team? Fourth?
Behind third. Pittman. Was it third or fourth?
It was behind Pittman, Warren, and Downs. So in a vacuum, that's probably not a great thing if you're signing a guy to be the number one wide receiver.
Sure.
But if he's able to produce 1,000 yards and average over 20 yards per catch, and he was probably the second leading receiver on the team behind Pittman?
No, he led the team.
Pittman didn't have 1,000 yards?
Pittman had 784 yards. And that's the thing. There's two numbers on Pierce.
Yeah.
The yards per reception, which is the best in the league.
Right.
The catch percentage. And that's the one where if I were still a professional journalist like you, I'd go back and try to look at all 84 of those targets and see why he didn't catch half of them.
Right.
Because to me, if I'm assessing this and I'm trying to give the guy $25 million, I want to know that. I apologize to the podcast listeners. I have not done that myself. I think that's probably, if you're the Patriots front office, that 56% catch percentage is ugly. How much of that is on the player? How much of that is on the passes? If you're running up the sideline and the quarterback throws it to the 10th row, you were the targeted receiver.
So I will tell you right now that PFF charted him with 1 drop last season.
Mm-hmm.
So that only tells part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
On contested catches, he caught 43.8% of those. Not great, but that also doesn't mean it's his fault.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
passer rating while targeted was 113.7. The 1 drop is obviously huge, to 6 touchdowns. And yeah, I mean, the Colts completion percentage as a whole last year was 65.8, which isn't terrible, but it's also not Drake May completing 70% of his passes.
But I mean, it's been his whole career. He's 53% catch rate.
Right.
I feel like if you're a $25 million receiver, it should be better than that, but that's just one number. I'm just literally looking at the stat page. I'm not evaluating his ability to catch the ball.
Obviously, the Colts felt as though it would benefit them more to target Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman, and Josh Downs more than Pierce.
Let's not give them really much credit, because they also felt it was smart to give Daniel Jones $38 million.
Right. And I mean, so when Alec Pierce is averaging 20 yards per catch, and I don't know, it wasn't fluky either. It's not like he had 300-yard games at the end of the season when no one was trying.
Mm-hmm.
His production was pretty normal across the board. He had 5 games under 50. He had 2 games over 100. The rest were between 67 and 98 yards. So yeah.
Yeah, my where I took issue with Volan's tweet where he's not even as good as Stefon Diggs, and I'm like, I mean, maybe, but I don't think Stefon Diggs was that good. He was good, but I don't think him.
By saying that, I think we are dramatically overrating Stefon Diggs. Yeah.
No. Yeah, you don't talk about him with awe because he had a good year. Right. He's obviously a great receiver in total, but at this point, I don't think what we saw wasn't half of his production in 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it was he had the 100-yard games, but he also had so many that were under 30 and 40 and stuff. So
it's repeatable.
In an ideal world, Alec Pierce is probably your number 2 wide receiver, just like T. Higgins is in an ideal world your number 2 wide receiver. So that's why I would still advocate for signing Alec Pierce, but then also spending a high pick on wide receivers and trying to hit on that number 1 guy. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think that when you release Stefon Diggs, and if you cannot acquire A.J. Brown or, I don't know, shoot for the moon, Justin Jefferson or whoever, then I think that you still need to go all in on Alec Pierce and try to get that guy just so that you ensure that you've got someone.
Do you want to do an exercise?
Sure.
Not physical, obviously.
I already went to the gym today, so I don't want to do any physical exertion.
I have a list.
I went to the trampoline park with Olivia the other day, by the way.
That'll get you.
And I jumped.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'll get you.
That'll get you.
I took my kids skiing last weekend.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't really ski much because I'm with the kids, so I'm stopping and leaning a lot. The soreness on my ankles and calves just from resisting instead of actually skiing, off the charts. So here's the exercise. You say correctly, Alec Pierce, probably you'd be best as a number 2. T. Higgins, probably number 2. The question is, how many number 1 receivers are there?
I know. Yeah, it's a good question.
So I'm going to just go straight from the receiving yards list, and you tell me when we're not at a number 1 receiver. Okay?
Okay.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Puka Nacua. George Pickens. Oh, you were stopped.
Oh, no, I was just holding up the number 1.
Okay, I thought you were telling me to stop.
Pickens is interesting.
Pickens, yeah. I mean, he is the number 2 on his team, but led the team.
But he was good enough last year that you can still consider him number 1.
You got to give him credit. Yeah, he had 1,400 yards. Yeah. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Trey McBride. Love you. You're not a wide receiver, so you're excluded. Zay Flowers Interesting. Like
Zay Flowers.
I really like Zay Flowers. I don't look at him as a number one.
I think Zay Flowers.
I mean, he is.
Yeah, I mean, like, is there a significant difference between Zay Flowers and Alec Pierce?
Probably.
Who's better?
Probably Zay Flowers. Maybe I'm biased.
How many yards did he have last year?
1,200.
Was that his first 1,000-yard season?
All right, question man. Zay Flowers in his third season had 1,200 yards. In his second season, he had 1,059. So he's back-to-back 1,000 yards.
All right, I guess there's a drop off there.
Yeah.
Before
next, Chris Olave. Next, Nico Collins, Jameson Williams.
So Jameson Williams,
he's the number 2.
He's the number 2 on the Lions.
He
signed a deal. I have it. I'll have it very shortly. I promise. He signed a deal for $26.7 million. I don't know if there's a dramatic difference between Jameson Williams and Alec Pierce. Am I crazy for saying that?
I don't think you're crazy for saying that, but someone might. Someone always will.
So he's had 2,000-yard season. So I guess once again,
way more. But yeah,
and he had more targets. So I guess there's a drop off there.
Then you get to CeeDee Lamb, who is a 1.
Yes.
But, then you get Jefferson, who is a 1, but had no quarterback last year.
Yep.
Cortland Sutton. He feels 2-ish.
Yeah.
All right, so he made to 30. Wan'Dale Robinson.
2-ish.
Yeah, 2-ish. Ted McMillan might be a 1.
Yeah, but he was a rookie. So
1,000 yards as a rookie. And then you get to Diggs. Devontae Smith.
I actually wouldn't mind Devontae Smith as being your number 1.
He might be the 1 on Philly because of AJ
He'd probably
Brown.
if Brown is gone, then he would be the number 1.
Well, I think
he's probably the number 1 on like half of the NFL teams. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe
well,
more.
we're getting to the end of the 1,000 yards. You have Michael Wilson in Arizona.
Not a number 1.
You have AJ Brown, who I think is number 1. The stats may not reflect it. And then you have Alec Pierce. So that's 19 guys. And we're already in the 2-ish category. Right. I don't know who we're.
Yeah, they're like, it is funny where like number 1, there's not 32 number 1 wide receivers in the NFL. So if Alec Pierce is your number 1 wide receiver, then you're in like the 40th percentile of number 1 wide receivers.
Well, I have a twist for you, right? Because let's agree Alec Pierce is like
twist,
twist, right?
I didn't know this. Is this cereal?
That's Twix.
No, I meant Cereal, the podcast.
Oh, remember that? And it was like, dude, this guy did something. I don't know if he is guilty of exactly, but like, you people believe anything.
I think the Reddit boards agree with you about that.
I just remember them being the most gullible hosts of all time. And he'd be like, I didn't do anything. And they're like, oh, he didn't do anything.
He said he didn't do anything. So therefore, yeah.
Yeah.
When you break it down, the evidence isn't great for him.
He had something to do with it. For sure. Anyways, okay, let's agree that Alec Pierce is more like he'd be better suited as a 2, right? Because he's not whatever 6'5", 235, amazing freak of an athlete, whatever.
Well, he's like 6'3", 200, and he ran a 4.4.
He's not small. I'm just saying he's not Megatron. He's not Calvin Johnson.
Yeah,
but we would also agree Jacoby Myers is absolutely 2-ish.
Yes.
You would also agree that in the absence of Jacoby Myers in New England, the Patriots would have been better if they had Jacoby Myers all the way along.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if you look at it in that, like, just because you don't have...
Are you better off having Alec Pierce? Yes. Yeah.
Just because you don't have one of 12 or 15 freaks.
Yeah.
Because they're hard to get, because you have to draft and develop them usually. How many of those guys we name that are 1s were drafted and developed? Probably most of them. We go back.
Yeah.
Not Pickens. I don't know. We know you get the idea. You would have wanted to have Jacoby Myers on the team for all the years that you didn't have him, and he would have made the team better. And I think just because you're not a Hall of Famer doesn't mean you can't make a football team better in the interim.
Yeah, I think that is fair. Before we get to our next discussion topic, I want to talk to you about Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more interesting, so don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Michael, we have been talking about Jason Tatum's return for weeks now. I promised to play Prize Picks on the Celtics when Jason Tatum returns.
Do you know what?
I don't know when that's going to be.
Well, they're releasing his little docuseries in rapid order. I don't know when episode 1 came out, but they released episode 4 today. And I think it's a 6-parter. So start doing some math.
So do you think he's delaying his return until part 6 comes out?
No, I think they're like, we got a return date. We got to make sure these puppies are out in time. So it's coming soon. So start doing your homework. I'm a big slam dunk guy. When I go to games, I like to count slam dunks. So if we can have any, more than 2.5 slam
that'd be
dunks,
cool. Yeah,
I love slam dunks because it's
I went to a Pacers
yes, sir.
Pelicans game.
Yes,
sirs. 2 years ago or a year ago. Zion had some big dunks.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
I live by the mantra. I actually have a tattooed on my chest. Is a great poem by the great Shaquille O'Neal set to the tune of a rap song in the 90s. And it was, do you want me to shoot it? No. Do you want me to pass it? No. Do you want me to slam? Slam. Da da da. And that's how I feel.
Hell yeah. So when Jason Tatum comes back, I'm playing Prize Picks.
Let's do it.
And if you use code CLNS, you get $50 in lineups. You play your first $5 lineup. So I think we're both. So are you on board with Pierce? Sounds like it.
Yeah. I think it's just simpler than the Brown thing, and the Brown thing feels like Howie Roseman's pulling the, we're open for business if you give us 11 firsts and your firstborn son and a Corvette. It just feels like it's going through the motions of where it feels like Max Crosby's going to get traded this week.
So with Brown, because this is where I don't envy NFL front offices. It's like, would you rather have Alec Pierce on your roster 100% if you agree to overpay everyone else? Or do you want that 40% chance that A.J. Brown's price comes down and you trade a second-round pick for him or whatever? It's just like, those are the decisions you have to make in a front office, and it's not easy.
Yeah. And there's a part of me, for as much as you and I are like, yeah, go get Pierce. We have to remember last year, for as good as the Patriots free agent class was, we have to remember legal tampering day. I remember I was at the gym, brag, and Twitter was down, so we were all on Blue Sky.
Oh, yeah, we were all on Blue Sky.
And everyone's making deals. Everyone's signing all the players. All the people you wanted are signing somewhere. And then it hits. Patriots are in agreement with Robert Spillane. And you're like, what? And then it was like later, Harold Landry. And you're like...
Well, Landry was the night before.
Oh, okay. But you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until much later as Milton Williams, which was a very big investment.
Yes.
Because they were trying to get Godwin. That was response to not getting... No, Higgins.
Right.
Just trying to get...
Well, they wanted Godwin, too, and they didn't get Godwin.
Yeah, I think that was...
And they wanted the Ravens left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. They didn't get him.
So there was this sort of expectation that they'd spend like crazy, and they kind of did.
Yeah.
But not in the minute one where it could be announced and it's the guy.
Right. And then Morgan Moses comes out and all these other guys do. Yeah.
So it's just maybe a reminder that for as much as we talk about the big splash, that might not be in their mindset. They might have a very distinctly different plan.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Something fell upstairs.
Alec Pierce went to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Doesn't he just feel like he would have been a Notre Dame guy?
Is this a white guy thing? Are we doing that?
I guess. I don't know. Both of his parents went to Northwestern, and his younger brother plays for Purdue.
Midwest. A lot of Midwest action. Maybe
Another brother played basketball at William & Mary and North Carolina. Ooh. When did Justin Pierce play at UNC?
This is huge.
This is huge.
He could have played with A. May.
Could have played with any number of Mays.
That's true. Maybe the dad. Oh, he's a football player.
his graduate season was 2019-20. I don't know. Let me look this up. This is huge.
This is huge. We just cracked the code. So Luke May, his last season was 2019.
Okay. And that's the next youngest brother?
Well, then Drake probably went 3 years later, right?
Yeah.
If he was a junior in 24. No, he was a junior in 23. I think he was sandwiched in between two Mays.
Did he not overlap with any Mays?
Not that Drake played basketball, but you know.
Right. So
there's a Bo May.
Yeah, but so Luke May's last season was 18-19. And then Justin Pierce's first season at UNC, who's a transfer from William and Mary. So his first season.
You know what? Year. They have something to talk about at least.
They've got a lot to talk about.
They're like, hey, you know how like only one person in your family has ever left the Midwest? It was where I went to school. Do you want to talk about it? I wanted to look this up. Like I just kind of Google let me down, but it did lead me to a Bleacher Report story.
That could have been huge, by the way.
I know.
I'm sure, though, everyone already would have known it.
We would have retrofitted our podcast to be like, we've got breaking news about Alec Pierce and the Mays. I was just thinking of like free agent wide receiver busts.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned Adam Humphries earlier. So it led me to this Bleacher Report story. 50 biggest of all time. You want to play a game?
Sure.
Well, it's not really a game because I can't expect you to name 50. But number 50 was Nate Solder, which is unfortunate. Great guy.
Oh, wow. With the Giants?
Yeah. 4 years, $62 million. But then so number 49 was a receiver. Okay. Did you even remember Devin Funchess signing with the Colts in 2019? I don't remember that at all.
He must have been coming off a weirdly big year.
So he had 840 yards in 17 and then 549 in 18, 549 yards in 18 and then signed a 1 year $10 million deal the next. So not exactly breaking the bank.
I do want to ask you about some other free agent wide receivers, but if you want to keep playing that game, then we can play the game.
Antonio Brown made the list in 2019 with the Patriots. He made like what, 17 million for one game?
I mean, that was not a free agent signing, but yeah.
Well, he was available.
Yeah, I guess they signed him. Yeah.
Yeah. Alvin Harper with what was it?
Oh, with the Buccaneers?
Yeah. 95. I'll be honest, I wasn't locked into the
former Cowboy.
Okay, Jerry Porter with the Jaguars in 08. Doesn't really get me excited. David Boston with the Chargers in 03.
Wow, that guy was jacked.
I think he was using some performance-enhancing drugs.
I think he was probably on steroids.
I hate to make accusations that I can't prove.
It is funny. Him and who was it? LaRon Landry.
Yes. Oh my God.
Those guys were those guys looked like professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, "Oh wow, those guys are really jacked."
So Allen Robinson is on here, 2022
with the Bears?
Rams. He got 3 years, 46.5 with 30.75 million guaranteed. Has only drawn number one coverage in New England.
Right.
So I didn't think about that one. I wouldn't necessarily have thought of that as a bust, that wide receiver. Andre Rison, that's lifetimes ago.
Yep.
Still going.
Just seeing if there's like any recent receivers on there.
Calvin
Ridley hasn't worked out great.
Kenny Golladay with the Giants.
Oh, that was bad.
21. That's so 4 years, 72 million. I guess that's your worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Okay. We got
or like even like I said, like Calvin Ridley is a not great scenario.
Yeah, he must be 51.
Right.
Number one, biggest. I might as well tell people free agent bust of all time.
Give me the team.
Well, he was a Patriot. That should be enough.
He was a Patriot?
Not on the bust deal.
Not on the bust deal.
After the bust deal. The Patriots were like,
bust deal.
Oh, a distressed asset. Let's add him to the team. It was a Super Bowl season. They went to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl season.
They didn't win the Super Bowl. He wasn't a part of it. They said, see you later, mid-season, after he was lying on the ground during a play that ended up coming right back over him. He was famously a dickhead.
Chad John?
Nope. Same year. Same idea. They did Chad Johnson and
Albert Hainsworth.
yeah, biggest bust of all time.
Yeah.
7 years, $100 million.
Whoops. Signing with the
Washington football team.
Yes. Interesting.
Yep. All right.
Very
Free agent
interesting.
busts. Be careful out there, teams.
Yeah. Okay. So after Alec Pierce, PFF has Mike Evans as their next highest ranked free agent wide receiver.
It's just a waste of time. He's either playing in Tampa or is he from Houston?
Right. Like,
so it's
for
like those
Evans,
are the two.
I think you'd have to get into Stefon Diggs territory where you're like, you miss out on so many guys and he's still available in 2 weeks and then you sign him.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it happening before.
He's from Galveston. So I think he wants to play in Houston. I've read. And he probably doesn't want to leave Tampa. He's been there for 51 years. He's like a franchise icon.
Yeah.
I bet just like Godwin took less money to stay, I bet he would take less money to stay there too, just because it's not that bad there. Like they don't suck.
But if you're the Bucks and you already have Jalen McMillan and Emeka Ibuka and Chris Godwin, you don't need 4 wide receivers.
You can look under the couch cushions and find some money.
Yeah, you can look at, but that's not a good.
How much is he going to make?
PFF has him as $18 million a year.
No.
So after him,
what did he hurt last year?
Samuel.
Hamstring? Was it a hamstring injury last year?
Or
was it a knee?
I'm not sure. But then they have Deebo Samuel. Not interested.
Nope.
Jawan Jennings feels too similar to Mac Hollins.
I got Twitter roasted during the playoffs because they were running the no huddle in the playoffs. The Niners were, and Jawan Jennings just like didn't run a play. He was just like tired, and I like pointed it out. And then later he threw a touchdown, and every 49ers fan was like, "What about now? Was that enough effort for you?" It's like, well, it doesn't really.
It's not really the same.
He's a receiver.
Jawan Jennings. I mean, at least that would give Josh McDaniels is salivating over the idea of the fake pass, the double passes. With Jawan
Better
Jennings.
than Efton Chisholm, I would say. People forget they ran that in a playoff game.
Yeah, that was wild. Rashid Shaheed, don't hate it, but he'd be like a number 2 or 3.
Yeah, it seems like a lot. Like there's just more potential there than actual productivity. Like
Romeo Doubs. I kind of like the idea of Romeo Doubs.
See, I find Packers
because the Packers spread the ball around so much that they all just turn into one guy. I feel like he's someone who could thrive a little bit more on another team.
It's certainly possible. I have trouble evaluating Packers. I always have.
After that is Wan'Dale Robinson, too small. Then it drops off precipitously. Christian Kirk, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Jalen Naylor, not terrible as a 3 option. Tyquan Thornton, don't think he's coming back. Calvin Austin, Hollywood Brown, Brandon Cooks. Olamide Zacchaeus, Kendrick Bourne, don't think he's coming back. Tim Patrick, Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell, David Moore. And on and on and on it goes. I don't know. The guys on there outside of Pierce that would interest me the most would be Shaheed, Dobbs, and maybe Jennings, but I just don't really see it happening. Do any of those guys appeal to you?
I've had my hand raised. You must have been reading some stats.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't looking at you.
Mr. Kyed, I have a question.
Yes.
I know Tyquan Thornton like showed a little something with the Chiefs, but like what has he really done to even deserve being on that list?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of bad guys on that list.
That's just shocking. It's just like with anyone other than Patrick Mahomes, are you talking about Tyquan Thornton?
No, and I mean, how many yards do you think, without looking it up, how many yards do you think Tyquan Thornton had?
I'm going to say like 200.
I was going to say around the same. I'm going to say like 240. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you had it. I thought you were going to be like, it wasn't a lot.
No, my plan was to guess and then look it up. Is Pro Football Reference? Oh wow, way more than I thought.
Okay,
438. All right, he deserves to spot on the list.
I guess so, but
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, Pro Football Reference
that feels like a fraudulent 438.
Yeah, and a lot of it was. Well, I mean, you look at the yards on this. It felt like he was just a deep pass interference option.
There were, good Lord, he had 0 yards in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games last season. And he didn't play beyond week 15. Yeah. So, like,
I don't know. Just when you like reading a list, it's kind of like, well, what is that list? That's a weird
That
list.
is, right, but still, I mean, PFF knows what they're doing. And like did I miss anyone? No. So like
Yeah.
it's just basically what I'm saying is that like if you miss out on Alec Pierce, it's not like you can just be like, oh, I'll go get that guy because that next guy is going to be no one that we're talking about as being a top 32 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say Deebo Samuel probably too high on that list.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, no, you want to make a real run at Alec Pierce. I think he could make your team better. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's better than most of those guys. I mean, than all those guys you just listed. And I don't know. It's let's say they try, they don't get him. AJ Brown doesn't move. I don't know that anyone you just named is like if Romeo Dobbs going to make people.
He's not going to be he would be a number, he should be a number 2 or 3 here. Yeah.
He'll probably make over 20 million just because that's what they're making now.
Their projection, I think, was 15 for him.
Well, I should be his agent then.
No, it's tough. If you miss out on Pearson, if you don't acquire AJ Brown, then your next best hope is DJ Moore or drafting a wide receiver. And I mean, you got to be really confident in a guy at 31 to come in and be your number 1 wide receiver.
I don't know that any team would do that.
Right.
It happens
I
occasionally.
feel like the Chiefs have been doing that recently. And it
Yeah, but
hasn't
even
gone
still,
well.
like they went with Sky Moore. That didn't work out.
Xavier Worthy
yeah.
has not been great. Rashee Rice can't get out of his own way, obviously. And he was like a 4th round pick.
I just don't know that a team is gonna. It just
right.
feels
If you draft like Tedero McMillan at 8 or whatever, then you can do that.
But he also like helped probably, I don't know, a 5-win team win 8 games.
Right.
They won 8. Yeah. Didn't they go 8-9 to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Or was it 9-8?
I think they were 9-8. Yeah.
Same thing. I don't think the Panthers were like, all right, we're a contender. Let's draft Ted McMillan to be our number 1 and we'll go on a run.
Right.
So it just feels like, and that was a number 7 pick.
Yeah. I mean, so all in all, I go back to what you said at the beginning. They have to be pretty confident that they can either trade for AJ Brown, that they can sign Alec Pierce, or that they have something else in the chamber. As soon as the league year starts, that they can trade for or acquire via free agency. And we have 5 days to figure that out.
I have a question for you, Mr. Combine Boy, Mr. Scoops McGee, Scoops McGillicuddy. I look at on Over the Cap, they've got cap hit and they've got guaranteed salary.
Mm-hmm.
And Stefon Diggs had a $26.5 million cap hit with 1.7 guaranteed salary. That helps explain why he's not going to be on the football team. So I'm looking at other guys, and you tell me chances 1 to 100. 100, they're starting week 1. 1, they're going to be cut.
Okay.
Where they stand. Okay. Huge gaps in those numbers. Mike Onwenu, $25 million cap hit, $0 of guaranteed salary. 1 to 100 confidence he's on the team. Best playoff performer per Pat's chat.
85 to 90, I would say.
Okay. Next up, Christian Barmore, 17.1 cap hit, $2 million guaranteed salary.
65 to 70.
Okay. Now here's one literally nobody has brought up. This is a Pat's chat exclusive. This person is 11.75 cap hit with 0 guaranteed money, and his name is Hunter Henry. I had not even considered this until I'm looking at these numbers.
85 to 90.
Okay, that's his number.
Yeah, 85. You're right.
So yes.
Yeah, and like maybe I don't know, maybe I'm overshooting all of those, but like Michael Wenner was your best offensive lineman last year.
It's a lot of money.
I know it's a huge cap hit, but it's like when your O-line already stunk at times last year, to remove him from the equation, like I don't know if he's like the exact type of right guard that you want for the future, but when you play as well as he did, and you don't have like when it's a crappy O-line free agent class, you're just kind of like, all right. we're gonna roll with that. Yeah.
It's tricky. I'm not a contract aficionado, but he's due $16 million in base salary.
Right.
It's the last year of his deal.
Right.
It feels ripe for an extension that you could probably move some money around, because that's
if they want to work with him moving forward.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I kind of think you just let him play it out.
I talk out of both, but I'm just saying, if you don't want him to have a $25 million cap,
Right.
if you need to move the money around, you can probably
Yeah.
do it if you need to. I talk out of both sides of my mouth, because good guard play is so important.
Yeah.
And then when I see a highly paid guard, I'm like, oh, great. Nice job. It's sort of like 2020, was it, when the Patriots franchised Joe Thuney?
Right.
And it was like, yeah, just go ahead and pay him the top five, the average of the top 5 salaries of offensive linemen. Like, you have probably the worst roster we've seen in decades. You have Demir Bird as your number 1 receiver. Like, yeah, go ahead and franchise the guard.
Yeah, it was wild.
But
it's nice to have.
Yeah, and so it's a tricky thing. Like Mike and Wenyu, we talked about, we were like, it was maybe after the championship game, we were like, we have not said this guy's name once.
Right.
He's been mistake-free in a year where the O-line was running out of gas late.
We are at the hour mark, but free agency starts on Monday. Are there any other free agents that you are pounding the table for?
It's a fair question, Doug.
I like a guy like Boye Mafe at edge.
Yeah,
I think that's another guy. He's not. I don't think he's quite as young as Mr. Milton Williams was last year, but just feels like a guy who might have been underutilized a little bit on a really good defense last year with the Seahawks.
Yeah,
whose best football could still be in front of him. He's 27.
Yeah,
but he's been a productive player.
And like, we assume Chason will get a good contract somewhere else. Maybe
he could come back. If he comes back, then whatever. But yeah,
as you listed sort of the depth behind that, it didn't get me overly excited. So I do think edge is where I would start. I think I like Mafe better than like Jalen Phillips. I think there's too many injury questions there.
Yeah, and it feels like Phillips is going to get paid more too. Phillips, and Hendrickson.
Hendrickson's still intriguing to me.
I know. I wonder how much he's going to make.
And was he kind of useless last year? Is that too harsh? You know, he was supposed to be. He got his money.
Yeah.
And then that was that. So edge would be exciting, I think, in terms of, I don't know, last year we talked about how the moves they made weren't exciting. Like Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
A good player you knew about, but you weren't like, wow, they got Davis.
Right.
I think if they make a handful of those smart moves again, they're going to be really good. And you've got to trust that they're looking similarly. Like, they make the one big player like they did with Milton Williams, and then add a bunch of good football players in that second tier that you already mentioned for the edge.
The other guy that I would be excited about, and maybe I'm just biased because the Seahawks just won the Super Bowl, but Kobe Bryant at safety, I think would be a really smart move as well.
What do you think about
converted cornerback, playing the best football of his career at safety now? If you can't get Hawkins back, or if you can get Bryant on a similar contract, I kind of like that move. I kind of like that upgrade.
Isn't Cameron Curl a free agent too?
Yeah, I like Curl a lot too.
So yeah, they definitely need a safety. So one of those guys. What do you think about
Brian Cook too? Is the other one, not as big of a name, but I know that he's well liked.
Where do you and people you've talked to stand on Isaiah Likely? Because he's a name people are going to talk about a lot.
Doesn't seem like the greatest fit for what the Patriots want to do on offense.
Okay.
So my guy at tight end, UW bias, is Cade Otton. And I don't know, like if you can get Cade Otton, I don't know. I guess you don't want to move on from Hunter Henry, team leader, dependable. Like, he's a coach's favorite, but
hasn't missed a snap in 4 years.
Right.
Essentially.
So Otton's not quite as dependable, but probably has like a little bit of a higher upside, but I guess you could pay both of those guys. But yeah, I like Otton feels like a guy whose best football also could still be in front of him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where do you think they make? I think they need tackle depth.
Yeah. I think that
might do that in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably try to bring back Fedarian Lowe.
Yeah.
And Thayer Munford. Like, those guys played well enough last year where if they're not going to get paid a bunch, just bring him back.
I
right?
wonder if a team is going to pay low to be a starter, because it's one of those things where it's like the backup quarterback is always the most popular man in town.
I mean,
The backup tackle is always the most popular, because it's like, wow, he didn't struggle in the playoffs. He should be playing.
So this might speak more to PFF than it does to Mr. Vidarian Lowe, but there are 368 players listed in their top free agents. 368. Where do you think Vidarian Lowe ranks?
I have no idea. I don't remember. He played 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
He was good. He had
Mhm.
like probably high, I guess, because that's what you're asking.
No, 334, which feels way too low, actually.
Wow. Yeah, I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, if that's the case, if the NFL views him the same way, I'm paying him a million times. But yeah, like for him and Munford were good enough last year. There was like Munford was good in that jumbo tight end role. Vidarian Lowe stepped in well for Will Campbell. If you bring those guys back as your backup left tackle and right tackle, add those to Marcus Bryant, you're doing pretty well there. I feel like.
Yeah. All right.
And then you could still draft a tackle at 31 or 63 or whatever.
Yeah. Can you help me with something?
Sure.
Sometimes you can see something goes wrong in here.
Mm.
And I saw Zion Johnson is a free agent. And I just remember, like, we did a lot of talking about him before the 2022 draft. Why was that? Was the Patriots going to take
They drafted a guard in the first round.
Oh, that was the Cole Strange year. Oh, okay.
It wasn't Zion Johnson. It was another fella.
Okay. I just remember doing like a lot of research on Zion Johnson. I'm like, what was going on? There was a lot of guards that year. Wasn't Cole Strange like he was like the 5th interior lineman taken? Linderbaum went 25th.
That's still
Crazy.
Like
Crazy.
at some point when Cole Strange's career is over, I want to talk to him and be like, all right, be straight with us. Scale of 1 to 10. How shocked were you to go in the first round?
I'm pretty sure he has said, like, I think he was like fishing with his dad or something. They weren't even tuned in that day because it wasn't.
That happen?
I think it's the Patriots were so good for so long they could like do stuff like that.
You just like plug and play a guy, and you're like, all right, we need this one specific role. Let's fill it.
Like the 2008 or like the 2000. Yeah, what like from 2007 to like there were so many.
The
bad
2007 draft outside of Brandon Merriweather, they literally got 0 players.
Thank you. I was trying to get there.
Yeah.
The 2007 Patriots draft was like so bad. It's like, well, there was no room on the roster.
No,
they had the best team ever assembled, and there were tons of years in the 10s, the 2010s, where it was like, yeah, you didn't get it. You only picked 4 guys, and they didn't pan out. You won 14 games.
Yeah,
it was kind of like, but as we saw it changing, I think maybe Bill was slow to see it as a different era.
right.
And that's part of why he's no longer the coach of the New England Patriots.
I mean, I will say, I'm not here to defend Bill Belichick, but like, I will say that the next picks after Cole Strange, like Lewis Cine is out of the NFL. The next picks were George Karlaftis, Daxton Hill, Lewis Cine, Logan Hall, Christian Watson, Roger McCreary. Is McCreary also out of the NFL?
Roger McCreary
now. But like, that could have looked a lot worse.
Than
like,
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall, Jalen Petrie, they would welcome.
Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
Wandale Robinson.
Right. There was definitely some much better players, but like the fact that a lot of these guys like also weren't that good helps them a little bit, but it's still like, I don't know.
Then you had Tyquan in the 2nd round, a few picks before Pierce.
Was rough.
And Pickens.
Right.
What are you going to do? Draft is tough. That's next month's podcast, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Having George Pickens and Alec Pierce be the next 2 wide receivers off the board, like Sky Moore stinks.
Respectfully.
And then Trey McBride also. When like the Patriots did absolutely nothing to address tight end for years and years and years.
I will say this. I know Trey McBride. I will say this. One of my great skills in life is looking back at old drafts, whether it's NFL, NBA,
a
little bit NHL, and being like, wow, nice pick, idiots. the 2003 draft. Like, wow, you picked that guy, morons.
Yeah.
I'm really good at retrospectively crushing teams for making the incorrect picks.
Hell
How
yeah.
dumb are you guys? I love it.
That's great.
Yeah, it's one of my skills.
It is interesting where a bad draft class precludes a bad free agent class. And that 2022 draft was not great. And this free agent class is not great.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like next year's free agent class might be a little bit better.
I don't want to be mean to the Walker family. Is
Okay.
Trayvon Walker like the most forgotten / unknown / least impactful number 1 pick of all time?
So
Or
I
at
think
least-
Jaguars fans would still contend that he was worth the first overall pick.
Just not a guy on the national register.
Right.
No,
he's not.
Yeah.
And Aiden Hutchinson might be like slightly overrated.
Yeah, because he does the smear of the face paint of the.
But he's still been
way better,
considerably more productive than Trayvon Walker.
Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Thibodeau.
Right.
You got the worst of the top 5 probably, but football player, NFL player.
Yeah, he had a 67.6 PFF grade last year. He's never had more than 59 pressures in a season. He said like decent sack numbers, but no, I mean like, I don't know. For a few years there, taking him over Hutchinson looked bad. Now taking him over Stingley looks bad.
Yeah. Did you see Hutchinson complaining on Twitter that the Lions didn't use his bat downs in their video or whatever it was?
No.
They posted a video, I think, and they were just bragging about something they did on defense. Yeah. And he's like, I had a career high 7 whatever, and none of them are in this video. And now that I say it out loud, I'm like, was it fake? Is everything fake?
Oh, maybe. Got to be aware of that.
Everything's fake now.
Yeah. You know what? I drove by like a farm in, I don't know, somewhere on the way to my haircut. And they were using a very obvious AI image as their like signage outside. And I was like, this world just sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, you know how all the AI images are like
terrible,
brownish?
Yeah.
They have like a brownish hue.
Let's not talk about hues, but yeah.
It just had that brownish hue of my shirt. And I was like, what are we doing here? You used an I guess I understand as a business being like, well, this is free, I'll use it. But just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Some people, this is funny. Some people think it's so cool. I don't quite get it. This might have been a fake tweet. So I retract. But I did just search Aiden Hutchinson post. And in July, he issued a statement on fake AI posts. So maybe I fell for one. That's the first for me. Bad job by me. I have a podcast comment, because we're at an hour 13 and it feels like we have been podcasting.
Wow, we're deep.
Feels like we should shut up. But I used to be like a regular part of my take listener, especially when I was commuting to and from Brighton every day, which is a nightmare commute.
Yep.
And I stopped at some point along the way.
I used to listen to, but I've stopped listening to most podcasts.
But I saw they had their 10th anniversary the other day, so I threw it on. Their podcasts are like 3 hours now.
Oh my God.
So my question is, like, should we be podcasting more? Should we take an intermission at 1:13 and then do another 1:15? Like, are we doing it wrong? Have we missed the memo?
So a lot of podcasts I listen to can like exceed 2 hours. For me, it's too much because I don't only want to listen to one podcast in my life.
For sure. Where I'll tell you that you don't have the miserable commute life that a lot of people do. Like, I would drive to Brighton, and even I would drop my daughter off in Arlington. And if you know, anyone listening knows, Arlington to Brighton, 7-8 miles. Right. It would take an hour.
Yeah.
So it's a sad moment when that podcast ends. And you just sometimes want something always there. So I get it. But it does seem like there's got to be diminishing returns at a certain point of your 3-hour podcast. Because then you got another one 2 days later. Right.
I guess people do listen to them at 1.5 speed also.
I can't do that. My brain's not working like that.
I can do 1.5. Some people would do 2x.
That's crazy. I do, like, when I have a Twitter video, I always put my thumb down to do 2x. Because, like, I don't got time to watch a 16-second video. I need it to be in 8 seconds.
I feel like we've been talking pretty slow in this podcast. This might be a good one for people to try 2x.
It's also kind of meta because we're talking about podcasts being long on a long
Well,
podcast.
we just keep talking and talking and making this podcast longer.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a phone call coming in.
Is
Don't
it
know
a
what
scoop?
that's all about. Might be. If you're still listening right now, which you better be,
Thank you.
leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast and tell us how long our shows should be. If they should be 5 minutes, 25 minutes, an hour, 25 hours. Imagine that. What if we did a 24-hour podcast once a week?
DJ and Pete Blackburn do that every year for the NHL trade deadline. They go live for 24 hours.
Too many hours. DJM finally caught up to the live chat. Did either of you figure out who the CB was that shut down Randy Moss in college? No, but we will.
We're working on it. It'll be in the Boston Herald next week. I've assigned it to Doug.
All right. Well, we're going to go. It's time to go. We've done this for a while now. So we have free agency on Monday. I think that should probably be the plan for the next podcast on Monday.
All right, deal. But you mentioned should we do a 5-minute podcast? One time, probably 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know Brian Robb?
Yeah.
Sports sub, Celtics writer, Celtics reporter.
Yep.
He got approached by some company that had this like concept of micro podcasts.
Oh.
Where you could step in your room and be like, Alexa, play me Celtics talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, hey, you want to do this with me? So I'm like, sure. He's like, all right. And they sent us microphones. They sent us the microphone I used for Patch Chat for like up until this year.
Wow.
Was from that thing.
Wow.
So we did one. I went in my car. It was like podcasts were around, but I didn't, people didn't have, it was pre-COVID. So no one had their little setups. So we recorded it. It was like 6 minutes Celtics talk. And we sent it in. And then I think we got fired.
Wow.
We never did a second one. We made
it was the worst 5 minutes they ever heard.
I just want to know, like, I think we did what they wanted us to do, but maybe they're like, nah.
Wow.
We're on to macro podcasts.
There we go.
But so 5-minute podcast, short shelf life. Didn't work.
All right. We're going to go. Goodbye.